Beginnings are usually scary and endings are usually sad. But it's everything in between that makes it all worth living. Wise words from one of our cultural icons, Bob Marley. And just like that, we are at the end of Reggae Month 2024. But don't let the celebrations end here. Continue to sing and rock to the vibrant beats this genre has gifted us. Hello there, welcome to another edition of Jamaica Magazine. I'm your host, Adrian Atkinson. Today we have an informative show lined up, but first, the news.
Calling all creators, join the JIS Creators Challenge.
We want to see your unique perspective on why you love Jamaica.
Whether it's through a Jamaican adventure, arts and craftsmanship, or Jamaican cuisine.
With party lifestyle or celebration of our Otamaniwan people culture.
Unleash your creativity in a video 1 minute or less, showcasing why you love Jamaica.
Upload your video to your socials and tag JIS by March 8th.
Follow us on all our platforms for more info
on how to enter and prizes to be won.
Stay tuned!
Good day, I'm Lisa Rowe, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, February 29, 2024. Government has identified $85 million to spend on bringing water to more Jamaicans in rural areas in the upcoming fiscal year. The money is allocated for the Rural Water Supply Improvement Project, which will be implemented by Rural Water Supply Limited and is set to commence in April. The engagement is intended to provide potable water in non-utility service areas across 6 parishes. Among the anticipated outcomes for the 2024-2025 fiscal year is the establishment of the Project Management Unit. Office equipment and motor vehicles will also be procured, and works contractors will be retained for all the schemes. The Government of Jamaica and the Caribbean Development Bank are co-funding the project, which is slated to end in March 2029. The Jamaica Defense Force's ability to monitor and safeguard the country's borders will be strengthened through an allocation of approximately $1 billion in the new fiscal year. The funds will go towards making final contractual payments to complete procurement of coastal surveillance equipment. Details are contained in the 2024-2025 Estimates of Expenditure, which was tabled recently in the House of Representatives by the Minister of Finance and the Public Service, Dr. Nigel Clark. The procurement is being made under the Purchase and Overhaul of Ships Coastal Surveillance Project, which commenced in 2018. It aims to facilitate the procurement of radar, marine offshore patrol vessels, cameras, software, hardware, and other equipment for the JDF. Up to December 2023, 3 marine patrol vessels were secured. The project, which is being financed from the Consolidated Fund, falls under the Ministry of National Security and is slated to conclude in July 2024. More persons living with disabilities are to be integrated into the government's Overseas Farm Work program as part of its Inclusivity Initiative. Minister of Labour and Social Security, Pernell Charles Jr., made the declaration during the recent closing out ceremony for the Strategic Engagement of Rural Women with Disabilities in Sustainable Farming Techniques project. The minister reveals that 2 individuals have already been recruited and are now making preparation to depart Jamaica. He says the ministry is actively striving to increase the number of participants so that more persons will be able to access overseas employment opportunities.
We are focused on ensuring that we can challenge and teach the entire nation to understand the importance of the value of these initiatives and the value of giving support to persons with disabilities.
Students are being encouraged to build their technology skills and seek careers in the lucrative cybersecurity sector. The urging comes from the Minister with Responsibility for Skills and Digital Transformation, Senator Dana Morris Dixon. She was delivering the keynote address at the recent launch of a free Wi-Fi hotspot in Waterford, St. Catherine. During the launch, some students were also presented with laptop computers. Dr. Dixon asserts that having qualifications in cybersecurity will deliver high-paying jobs for young people looking for a viable career path.
If you're looking for a quick way to a career that's going to make you lots of money, cybersecurity is one. We have 3 million jobs. Well, we need 3 million workers globally in cybersecurity. If you have any certification in cybersecurity, you are guaranteed a job. And it's a good paying job, either here or globally.
She advises that the Heart NSTA Trust offers various digital training courses and is very digitally oriented with technology at its base. And finally, Jamaica is set to host the inaugural Elevate Procurement Conference, aimed at creating a more efficient, transparent, and inclusive procurement system that is beneficial to all stakeholders. The 3-day conference is scheduled for April 23 to 25 at the Montego Bay Convention Center under the theme Elevate, Innovate, Create. It is being hosted by the Office of Public Procurement Policy in the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service. The event is expected to attract local, regional, and international experts and stakeholders from the business community, as well as legislators. It also targets suppliers of goods, services, and works, along with local civil society and corruption watchdog groups and procuring entities. During the recent media launch held at the AC Hotels by Marriott, the ministry's Chief Public Procurement Officer, Andre Bennett, said the conference would feature riveting discussions with various breakout sessions, lectures, and symposiums. These are to tackle different challenges within public procurement and devise solutions. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Procurement is more than just buying goods and services. It's essential in ensuring organizational success. Within the government, the Ministry of Finance and the Public Service plays a critical role in our nation's procurement processes. That's why the ministry will be staging a conference to raise awareness about the ins and outs of procurement. Check out highlights from the recent launch.
Calculation. How much Jamaican dollars that? Roughly. 400 and something billion, would that be Jamaican? That sounds like plenty money to me. And so, Elevate wants to help us all to get a better understanding of the process and to also help the Jamaican businessmen and women who are not yet doing business with the government, help them get their business in order so that they can get a piece of this $2 billion US.
Every platform that I stood on, I spoke about the procurement process and how it is like owning a shop and living above it and walking downstairs through the shop and going down the road to buy bread from your competitor. That's what we do every time we don't buy Jamaican.
My entire office is going to be there. We're going to set up a booth and we're going to make it possible for you to register, for you to learn how to use the system. Also getting the Public Procurement Commission to come to similarly set up a booth to talk about the supplier registration system, which is also now entirely online. So it's going to be a fantastic place for business people to come and learn how to do business with government as well.
The Infrastructure Committee of Cabinet approves government contracts valued $60 million or more. The total amount recommended by the Infrastructure Committee of Cabinet for its approval for this past year, listen to this, $134.4 billion US dollars. That's fully a third of that 400 billion that Shelley wants to get her hand into. Shelley Ann, you know, and you should go and build your business. So it's over 60 million that we look at, and we do a third of that $400 billion that goes out in Jamaica. Andrea will tell you that with my banking background and the amount of contract I've financed across the world, I take this thing very seriously. He will tell you that I say to peers and executives who come, remember this is taxpayers' money, and I have some very ordinary ones from St. Elizabeth, and we must make sure they get value for their money. So the procurement issue is an important issue for the country.
That smile on their faces and preserve their innocence. Cherish the moments you have with them and create the best memories. Let's inspire our children to dream big and work hard to achieve all they aspire to be. Take the time to listen to our children and really hear their side of the story. Our children deserve love and the right to access their basic needs. Do your part and protect our children.
Suicide is a complex and emotional topic, but one that we must address compassionately. Our next feature highlights how we can help by spotting the warning signs.
It can be challenging for some people to ask for help, even when it's just what is needed. And this is exactly why we should learn to listen, even when a person isn't talking.
Every suicide is preventable. And the only way we're going to be able to prevent these deaths by suicide if we know the warning signs and know how to respond.
If you find that someone is saying that they want to kill themselves, whether it is a joke, because some persons say, I was only joking, or whether they are serious, they need to be taken seriously. And one needs to find out what is happening with them.
Of course, someone feeling sad and even lashing out is not necessarily a sign that they will harm themselves. But if you want to take a closer look, these counselors recommend using what they call the PIN scale. Assessing someone using this method means you need to identify if there is a plan and also investigate the means of executing that plan.
The more detailed the plans that a person has to kill himself or herself, the more likely the person will. The person knows the place, knows the time, and knows the method is much more at risk than the person who just say, I feel like I want to kill myself.
Then there's the intensity.
The more drastic the method, the more likely the person will complete suicide. In Jamaica, hanging, using the gun, those are the top ways in which people kill themselves. So ask the question, have you had thoughts of hurting yourself? And if you were to do it, how would you do it? And the idea is to be able to separate the person from the means of death.
With this in mind, we are able to identify the nearness, as in how near the person is to doing the act. This is usually preceded by some signs.
I often say to people, use your eyes, use your ears, and use your nose. What are you seeing? Are you seeing deterioration in the way they carry themselves? Are we seeing deterioration in their energy level? What are we seeing? Then use your ear. What are you hearing them saying? I can't take it any longer. I am a bother. I feel like I want to kill myself. And sometimes the deterioration gets to the point where there is body odor. Use your nose. Is there something going on there where your self-care is so low?
If we find that somebody is very depressed and all of a sudden, without any kind of intervention, they're just very happy and bubbly and everything is working well, it could be, as many times it is, that they have now decided that they are going to complete suicide. So they are no longer in the valley of indecision and feeling agitated. No, they are calm because they have made up their minds to complete the act. And so that is why you see that switch. So don't be fooled by it. Talk with them.
Sometimes they are so depressed that what they need is to be stabilized by the use of medication. So get them stabilized and use talk therapy.
Some who have contemplated suicide have shared that during such a time, they often felt deserted, which brings us to the support factor.
Persons who are suicidal need a lot of support because it suggests that they are not coping with different aspects of their lives. And sometimes they believe, one, nobody cares. And that is why it is important to show them that we care by listening to them, by reaching out to them.
But also realize that many of us are limited in our own ability to be able to help people who are suicidal. So get help. In Jamaica, there is the Suicide Mental Health Helpline, 888-639-5433. Call the helpline. Get to our counseling agency, Choose Life International, our flagship with counselors across the nation willing to help, 920-7924.
Get them the help they need and show them that they are loved and that they are wanted.
When somebody has expressed doom and gloom and frustrations in life, it is not a time to condemn them, to tell them how they're worthless and they're good for nothing and they're not going to come out in anything and how they're ungrateful, but love them and care for them and be very deliberate. You don't know the story of the person that you're meeting on the street. You don't know the story of the person you meet at church or at work. You don't know what they went through last night. So be gentle with your words. Be willing to speak life over them. Be positive with them.
In Jamaica, public procurement rules are based on 4 main principles. 1, a principle of transparency that says government must be open and forthright and must also ensure that all suppliers have the ability to see when contract opportunities are available and that anyone who is interested can understand the actions and decisions that have been taken in the public procurement transactions. 2, a principle of competition, which says as far as possible, government should ensure that all the suppliers who can get a shot at earning a contract. 3, a principle of equitable treatment that says once you are able to supply, you should be asked to supply and that you should receive the same treatment right across the board. There should be no distinction unless there's a good reason for doing so. And finally, a principle of proportionality. And that says we should not do what goes beyond what is necessary to get things done. So all the bureaucratic and difficult parts of the process, we must be careful to reduce those so that we can get into contract quickly and get that contract implemented in the best possible way. Those are the 4 main principles that underpin the public procurement system in Jamaica.
Public passenger vehicle operators and commercial carriers, renew your road license online. It's as easy as 1-2 click. Visit the Transport Authority website at www.ta.org.jm. Choose your license type and click Apply Now. Sign in or create an account with your email address and complete the application process, uploading all relevant documents. Make payment using a debit or credit card. Once your application is approved, the Transport Authority will email you to collect your sticker. Pick up your sticker in office or utilize our courier service. Once the sticker is collected, your digital road license will be emailed to you. For more information, call the Transport Authority toll-free at 888-991-5687.
An earthquake can happen at any time. Though we can't prevent them, staying informed about safety tips and taking proactive steps is crucial in how we safeguard our loved ones and ourselves when disasters strike.
When an earthquake strikes, it can cause disruption of electricity and communications, infrastructural damage, serious injuries and fatalities, as well as lingering emotional trauma. Because an earthquake can strike at any time without warning, on today's program we share safety tips for you to keep in mind. It is very important to know what to do before, during, and after an earthquake to ensure we stay safe. Before an earthquake occurs, an emergency response plan should be in place, which should be understood by all occupants of a building or institution. It's also important to select safety wardens to manage the movement of personnel inside and outside of a building and to check the building before re-entry. Safety wardens should also conduct periodic earthquake drills to ensure everyone is clear about what to do when a disaster takes place. Another tip is to identify safe spots at home, work, and frequently visited locations. These spots include under sturdy tables or desks, structurally sound or strongly supported doorways, and inside of a small room or hallway. Parents and guardians are also encouraged to talk to their children about natural disasters and steps they should take to protect themselves.
It's very important that our teachers and our parents have this conversation with our children. This is a very important practice that we should develop in our children. And indeed, right across our public and private sector, it is a requirement that you have safety wardens appointed in your institutions. You should now be carrying out your drills and being prepared.
Whenever an earthquake occurs, it normally stirs up strong feelings amongst persons who experience it. These feelings are sometimes manifested in depression, anxiety, stress, difficulty breathing, chest and muscle pains, feeling faint, dazed, lightheaded, or angry, as well as stomach aches.
We recommend to Jamaicans who may be experiencing those symptoms to, firstly, they can consult their doctor, whether in the private or public space. But there are other less intense ways to manage these types of mental wellness or mental health challenges. Talking to a friend or family member, I encourage others to remain safe, getting rest, reestablishing a return to routine, and just asking for help if you need that help.
The precautions that you should take during an earthquake will be determined by where you are when the shaking begins.
During an incident of this nature, we know that it gets a little bit dramatic and persons want to call each other, but we are asking persons not to use cell phones during these kind of incidents unless it is absolutely necessary.
Desist from making prank calls to the emergency services such as the police and the Jamaica Fire Brigade.
What it does is tie up resources that are needed elsewhere, and so it makes our job that much more difficult.
If you are inside of a building, use the drop, cover, and hold technique and stay put until the shaking stops. If you are outside, stay at least 10 feet away from any building from which window, glass, and other debris could fall. Move away from trees, streetlights, and power lines. Crouch down and cover your head. If you are in a vehicle, park in a location away from trees, wires, buildings, bridges, and overpasses. Stay where you are with your safety belt fastened until the earthquake is over. Never stop under or on a bridge. Be patient, be courteous, obey road traffic regulations, follow the directions of the police, yield immediately to emergency vehicles, and do not block intersections. After the earthquake, exit buildings by using the stairs and not elevators. Inspect buildings for cracks, shifts in pillars, posts, and other beams and structural members, and seek a professional assessment if there is any damage.
And also to ensure that you're checking for leaks, especially gas leaks, if you have gas lines running through your homes.
For more information about what to do before, during, and after an earthquake, visit the ODPEM's website at odpem.org.jm.
The Wildlife Protection Act is a piece of legislation here in Jamaica. It was enacted in 1945 that tries to look at our animals or wildlife on the island of Jamaica and try to ensure that they are conserved to some degree and not overexploited. So they're also, as an island, we have a lot of unique species. And if we lose those species on the island, it's gone to the entire world. So that is also one of the reasons why we have this piece of legislation, to ensure that Jamaica can maintain its wildlife and preserve the wildlife for future generations. In the Jamaican context, being an island, being very small, some persons have never left the island before, and so Jamaica seems big, but Jamaica is really very small. We have a lot to lose. We have a lot of resources and we have a lot to lose. So we're encouraging the public not to over-harvest, not to go against the Wildlife Protection Act and take animals that are considered protected species. And if animals are in a vulnerable situation where you think they need assistance, we encourage persons to first contact NEPA at 754-7540 and ask for assistance, especially if those animals have the potential of doing harm or being dangerous.
We've come to the end of our show for today, but not to worry. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same station, with another educational and entertaining show. In the meantime, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at gis.gov.jm. From the entire production team here at the GIS, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Until next time, well, good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.